Hey everyone! Today, we're diving into a mysterious and chilling case. Before we get started, please support the channel by hitting the subscribe button and turning on notifications. Every parent wants to protect their child and teaches them important rules about dealing with strangers. From a young age, we're told not to talk to strangers, not to follow them, and certainly never to get into their cars. These lessons are crucial because the consequences of ignoring them can be life-changing. Today's story is about Abigail Hernandez, an American high school student whose experience serves as a reminder of the dangers of trusting strangers. All she wanted was a ride home from someone who seemed kind, but what followed was a nightmare that no one could have predicted. Abigail Hernandez, family and early life. Abigail, or Abby, was born on October 12, 1998, in Manchester, New Hampshire. She was the youngest of two daughters born to Ruben and Xenia Hernandez. Abby grew up close to her older sister Sarah, and her mother worked as a nurse while her father was a sales agent. The Hernandez family appeared strong and happy, but during Abby's middle school years, her parents divorced. Her father remarried and started a new family, while Abby and her sister stayed with their mother. Though their father remained supportive financially, their relationship was reduced to occasional greetings on holidays. From a young age, Abby was an active, social child with a wide circle of friends. She enjoyed trying different hobbies, whether it was playing sports, creating art, or studying foreign languages. Her love for the outdoors led her to join a local outdoor club, where she regularly went camping and hiking, becoming skilled in wilderness survival. Abby's classmates described her as brave, smart, and always full of optimism. She was constantly on the move, making big plans for her future. In the summer of 2013, Abigail, then 14 years old, was dating a boy named Jimmy, a year older than her, which her mother Xenia knew about and supported. The disappearance. But in October 2013, things took a terrifying turn for Abby and her family. On her way home from school one day, Abby vanished without a trace. What seemed like a routine day turned into a nightmare that would grip her community for months. The day of disappearance. On October 9th, Abby had a normal school day and told her mom she planned to take a short walk through a nearby park before heading home. By 5 p.m., when she hadn't returned, her mom Xenia tried calling her, but Abby's phone was turned off. Xenia initially thought maybe Abby had met up with friends and her phone had died, but as more hours passed with no word, she started to worry. After contacting Abby's friends, school, and even her boyfriend Jimmy, no one had seen or heard from her since she left school. By evening, Xenia and her older daughter Sarah went to the police to report Abby's disappearance. Since she was a minor, a search began immediately. The last signal from Abby's phone was tracked about a mile from her home, but after that, it was turned off. The search begins. Within hours, news of Abby's disappearance spread across social media. Flyers with her photo were distributed, and by the next morning, her story was on the local news. Hundreds of volunteers, police officers, and concerned citizens searched parks, empty lots, and wooded areas, but there were no clues. The first suspect. As with many missing person cases, police initially focused on those closest to Abby. Her boyfriend Jimmy quickly became a suspect, but he had a solid alibi. He was busy all day with school, sports practice, and a family event, all confirmed by multiple people. Jimmy was devastated by Abby's disappearance and fully cooperated with the investigation, but it didn't help move the case forward. Weeks passed, and despite extensive efforts, there were no leads. It seemed as if Abby had disappeared without a trace. A mysterious letter. About 6 weeks after Abby went missing, her mother received an unexpected letter in the mail. It was from Abby. In the letter, Abby apologized for leaving, reassured her family that she was safe, and even said that she loved them. However, she didn't reveal where she was. The phrase "dreams come true" at the end of the letter puzzled everyone. Handwriting analysis confirmed the letter was from Abby, giving her family hope that she was still alive. This led some to believe that Abby had run away. There were even rumors that she might have been pregnant and left to avoid judgment, but her family strongly denied this theory. Her sister Sarah, who was very close to Abby, said she would have known if anything like that was happening. Plus, Abby had left all of her belongings behind, which didn't make sense for someone planning to run away. The kidnapper, Nathaniel Kibbe. It wasn't until much later that the truth came out. Abby hadn't run away. She had been kidnapped by Nathaniel Kibbe, a man with a troubled past. Kibbe was known for his aggressive behavior and had previously attempted to kidnap another girl, but had escaped consequences. After abducting Abby, he forced her to write the letter to her family under duress. What's even more shocking is that police had visited Kibbe's home during the search for Abby, but hadn't found anything suspicious. Kibbe held Abby captive for months, not far from her own home. Eventually, she managed to escape, and her story became a harrowing tale of survival. Stay tuned for more details in Part 2, where we'll dive deeper into how Abby was finally rescued and the aftermath of her abduction. The day she disappeared. On that October day, Abigail wore a new pair of hiking boots that were a little too tight, hoping to break them in before a hiking trip. After school, despite the pain from her blistered feet, she decided to walk home. As she limped along, a pickup truck pulled up beside her. The driver, Nathaniel Kibbe, smiled and offered her a ride. At first, Abby refused, but Kibbe persisted, noticing her discomfort. After some hesitation, Abby accepted his offer, assuming he was just being kind. Unfortunately, she was terribly wrong. The ride takes a dark turn. As they drove, Kibbe made small talk, putting Abby at ease. She even laughed at some of his jokes, feeling safe despite her initial hesitation. But when Kibbe pulled into a dark parking lot, Abby grew nervous. She told him she could walk the rest of the way, but before she could act, Kibbe revealed his true intentions. He grabbed her and threatened her with a gun, warning her not to resist. After tying her up, he used a cap to cover her eyes and prevent her from seeing where they were going. When she tried to peek, he shocked her with a stun gun until she lost consciousness. Abby's captivity. When Abby woke up, she found herself in a small, windowless space. Kibbe had locked her in a shipping container hidden in a trailer park. He would return frequently to abuse her both physically and psychologically, threatening her family to keep her from attempting to escape. Kibbe repeatedly told her that if she behaved, he might let her go one day, a promise that kept her trapped in a cycle of hope and fear. Abby was in shock during the early days of her captivity, but she soon realized that Kibbe wasn't planning to kill her, not yet, at least. She tried to connect with him, telling him she didn't judge him and wouldn't go to the police if he let her go. But Kibbe was unpredictable. Some days he would be cruel and violent, while other times he'd act as though he was trying to care for her. The letter to her mother. After about a month, Kibbe started letting Abby out of the container, allowing her to shower and watch TV with him. It was through the news that they saw the massive search efforts to find her. That's when Kibbe decided to have Abby write a letter to her mother. He hoped it would ease the pressure of the search and convince people she was safe. Under his dictation, Abby wrote several letters. At first, she tried to leave clues in the letters about her location, but Kibbe noticed and punished her for it. Eventually, she wrote exactly what he told her, just to avoid further harm. The name mystery. About 6 months into her captivity, Nathaniel Kibbe began trusting Abigail a bit more. He let her help him with his illegal activities, including a counterfeit money operation. Sometimes, he even allowed her to sleep in his trailer or cook meals. However, he remained as abusive as ever, forcing her to call him master while keeping his real name a secret. Over time, Abby managed to build some rapport with Kibbe, and he brought her books and magazines. One day, while flipping through one of the books, she stumbled upon the name Nathaniel Kibbe. Unsure if this was really her captor's name, she took a dangerous gamble and called him by it. He simply sighed, asked how she knew, and when she admitted she saw it in a book, he just smirked. Little did she know, help was closer than she thought. A close call. During her time in captivity, Abby was often held in a soundproof container, completely unaware of the world outside. At one point, the police were just a few feet away from her, searching Kibbe's property. However, they were there for an unrelated issue and never thought to check the container where she was kept. Kibbe had confessed to illegally possessing a firearm and, after cooperating with police, received a minor penalty, a fine, while his weapon was confiscated. But despite this close call, no one realized that Abby was trapped right there. Kibbe's new girlfriend and Abby's escape. In July 2014, Kibbe met a woman named Lorraine at a bar. After a brief conversation, they went back to his trailer, and after spending some time together, Lorraine mentioned her financial struggles. Kibbe gave her two $50 bills to help, but the next day, Lorraine angrily called him, telling him the money was fake. She said she had already informed the police and warned Kibbe that law enforcement would be back soon. Lorraine's call would end up changing Abby's life forever. On July 20th, 2014, in a completely unexpected turn of events, Kibbe gave Abby back all her personal belongings, tied her hands, and drove her to a deserted country road. He stopped, untied her, and told her to get out, warning her not to go to the police. As he sped away, Abby was in shock but relieved to be free. She walked for hours until she saw a familiar sign that told her home wasn't far away. The emotional reunion. Abby finally reached her house, where her family's security camera captured the incredible moment she walked back through the door. Her mom, Xenia, was on the phone when she heard Abby's voice and dropped everything to embrace her daughter. It was an emotional moment of disbelief and relief, as mother and daughter cried and hugged, grateful to be together again after 9 long months. Even after her return, Abby was terrified of Kibbe and his threats. When her mom suggested they go to the police, Abby lied, saying she didn't know who had taken her or where she had been. It wasn't until a week later that she finally told her mom the truth, and Xenia convinced her to go to the authorities. Arrest and trial. On July 27, 2014, Abigail provided police with Nathaniel Kibbe's name and car details. He was arrested the very next day, offering no resistance, though he initially denied his guilt. However, when police searched his property, they found overwhelming evidence linking him to Abby's captivity, including her DNA and other forensic proof. Despite the clear evidence, Kibbe's lawyer attempted to have him released on bail, and shockingly, a judge approved it. This decision caused public outrage, though a protective order was immediately issued, preventing Kibbe from contacting Abby or her family. In December 2014, Kibbe's trial began, lasting until May 2016. In a last-minute attempt to reduce his sentence, he accepted a plea deal and confessed to his crimes. Kibbe was sentenced to 90 years in prison, with the possibility of parole after 45 years. During her court testimony, Abby revealed that she had forgiven her captor, stating that the experience made her appreciate life and her family even more. Her mother, on the other hand, expressed her deep hatred for Kibbe, while also acknowledging that she was grateful he allowed Abby to come home alive.